this form of intelligence is already training itself where slowly it no longer requires human input. And that's where I worry that algorithmically we may not have the ability to build anything in anymore.
Disruption is a lot of fun to talk about, to on podcasts. It's not a lot of fun to be disrupted. And when those are human beings, you sort of have to worry about how you take care of them. 2030s is when you see an acceleration where I think elections will be won or lost based on positions on AI and job displacement. And you will see job displacements. The BPO industry will be completely displaced. Customer support will be displaced. There's large chunks.
You said when AI replaces jobs, it's 100% clear that people that don't adopt AI will be obsoleted by those who do. Just for the average person listening to this, what does that mean to their everyday life, and in what time frame are we looking at?
2030, much faster development of AI capability. And I'm at the much more optimistic end, though I think there's people who are much more optimistic than even I am about how fast AI capability will evolve. And I think we'll see the productivity pass through 2030 will cause large-scale displacement and huge income disparity in the 2030s. And by 2050, this will look like great abundance for those countries that allow it. Realize most of the jobs, even in this country, aren't great jobs. That's servitude. That's not a job. If you're a farm worker or a GM assembly line worker, putting a tire on a car for 8 hours a day for 30 or 40 years, that's servitude. That's not a job.
Sure.
That's human servitude. And I think this need to work to have this basic standard of living will go away. People will work because they want to work and work on the things they want to work, irrespective of its economic value to society. This is, in fact, this opportunity to free up humanity away from that servitude, which is the reality of a job for most people in this country. Assembly line work, farm labor work, cattle farm work, you name it. It's trivially easy by 2030 to imagine China providing free doctors to the whole planet, free tutors to every child on the planet, and using essentially free goods and services to spread their political philosophy. There's a battle for which political philosophy dominates the world in 15 or 20 years. It will be hugely enabled by strength in AI, which will determine economic strength. We will have competition with China, and whoever gets AI will get economic power and military power.
So does that mean we're going to a place where AI will essentially make military decisions as well?
I think people have an objection to AI making military decisions. I think it should.
And we have, again, but we don't have any choice, because if China does that, then they have an edge, so the US has to do that.
Yeah. You can be much faster than go through a command and control structure. So where the boundaries are, we will have to evolve. I mean, many things in a highly uncertain world are not predictable, but they are evolvable, and we evolve. The battle for the minds is probably the more important battle. I think most people think in very traditional, like, do we have enough cobalt or lithium or copper? I think the world won't be constrained by physical resources.
That's a beautiful world. So when I said you're an optimistic person, I agree that there's two forms of optimism here: how fast this technology is moving, and I agree it's moving a lot faster than any of us anticipate. But I'm referring to is that how the future will look like. And my fear is that in the short term, we will see abundance. We will redefine what it means to be human, which you've talked about 25 years ago in New York Times. But what worries me is that for the first time, we will no longer be the most intelligent species on this planet.
The human brain is easily hacked by complex algorithms. Facebook's algorithms can do it. The difference between Facebook's algorithms and Google's algorithms for advertising and TikTok is Facebook and Google have economic purposes, very clear intent. TikTok nominally says they have economic purpose, but I believe has much larger goals. Now, the optimistic side of me says every human will have an AI agent that protects them and say, do you really need to do this, or does this align with what you want to do with your money, your goals, your life?
But I want to take it a step further. If you said, these algorithms will be able to hack our brain, already they're doing that. Could it hack someone's brain to make it fall in love with it?
Almost certainly movie Her will happen. It's happening today. There's a company called Replica, if you know about Replica. The company then has to decide where to set boundaries on how far it can go with falling in love into not safe for web content. But look, that's human emotions. There's no question. People are already more addicted to TikTok than their partner. They want to talk to TikTok or spend time on TikTok versus their partner. This not. Hopefully, we have guardian AI that opposes the persuasive AI, but I do think this will happen. To what extent do you go where it reduces loneliness, which would be a good thing?
This cures depression. There's a lot of good things that come from it.
And then at some point it becomes so addictive, you stop everything else. What's the right balance? And there's, of course, what you love over the short term. And so how do you trade off the short term versus long term? These are complex questions.